Hare Krishna. So last 3 months I have been regularly reading in early morning hours books written by the dear dedicated disciples of Srila Prabhupada describing their early day experiences in Prabhupada's association practicing and preaching Krishna consciousness. In particular, I read Miracles on 2nd Avenue by His Holiness Mukunda Goswami Maharaj and Chasing the Rhinos, volume 1 and 2 by His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu. So these books, it gives great details on how Srila Prabhupada spread the Krishna consciousness movement by working tirelessly day and night and giving the same spirit to his disciples. It is very heart touching that how so many devotees in the early days of our movement were so deeply touched by Srila Prabhupada's presence. The intimacy, love, and dedication these devotees had to please Srila Prabhupada is so deep. How Srila Prabhupada transformed the life of Michael Grant just by making a phone call to him, when he was put in jail for false accusation. It deeply touched him and he helped him to take Krishna consciousness very seriously. And he went on to become Mukund Maharaj. How Srila Prabhupada preached boldly the message of Krishna consciousness in Avalon Ballroom in San Francisco to all the hippies and to a crowd which was filled with people taking drugs. It was so amazing to see that how Srila Prabhupada, being a Gaudiya Vaishnav sannyasi, staying in Radha Damodar temple, he was able to coexist so comfortably with all this young hippie crowd and tolerate their shortcomings. Rather, Srila Prabhupada fanned the small spark which these early devotees had and turned them into blazing fire of Krishna consciousness. As we read these books, we see that how Srila Prabhupada was so smart and how he was able to connect to reporters in various press conferences and host on TV shows. How lucidly Prabhupada would explain the teachings of Krishna consciousness to Western audience. How Srila Prabhupada organized Rath Yatras in San Francisco and transformed into New Jagannath Puri. I also was very deeply touched by the places in San Francisco, like 518 Frederick Street, where Srila Prabhupada opened the temple, and places like Golden Gate Park, Stowe Lake. So these places I had a good fortune to visit in 2018. And when I remember these places, I get so much spiritual nourishment just remembering the photographs of Srila Prabhupada, going for an early morning walk in these places with some of his disciples or giving classes in in this temple of Frederick Street. How Srila Prabhupada started the concept of Sunday Love Feast. And every day, Malati Mataji and other devotees would could cook prasadam for around 200 people, and they would come and they would feed. So how Srila Prabhupada had such a big impact on the young generation of America. And later, in the book Chasing the Rhinos, we read that how Srila Prabhupada, through his Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu, had such a big impact on society by inspiring George Harrison to spread Krishna consciousness to a completely different level. So George Harrison, he contributed by singing Hare Krishna Mahamantra and making it popular all over the world. Then how Srila Prabhupada came to India and how he opened the 3 major temples in Mumbai, Mayapur and Vrindavan. How Srila Prabhupada went to Russia just for 5 days and transformed the life of a person called Antony and made him Ananta Shanti, and then he became the instrument to spread. Then how Srila Prabhupada went to Japan, New Zealand, Hawaii and preached Krishna consciousness. So it was so inspiring to see the dedication and the preaching spirit of Srila Prabhupada. So in this 125th appearance day of Srila Prabhupada, so I just pray that I just become one of the sincere, dedicated followers, and always remember the sacrifices which Srila Prabhupada and his early day disciples have done to establish this beautiful movement of ISKCON. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Jai Srila Prabhupada.